Please like, subscribe, and be sure to click that bell button for regular and exciting indie film content and your chance to be the first to engage with the Liftoff Global Network of Film Festivals as we embark on launching the careers of the filmmakers of tomorrow.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. Today we're talking with two filmmakers who picked up the Audience Choice Award from the Austin Liftoff Film Festival. Welcome guys, welcome Tyler Mann and Campbell Rice. Let's start with Tyler. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what your project was?
Hi, my name is Tyler and I am the filmmaker behind Lifecell.
Amazing, and we'll be screening that one first, so we won't go into too much detail now, but let's find out a little bit more from Campbell before we jump into his film after your film.
Hey guys, I'm Campbell Rice, and I'm the filmmaker behind the documentary The People Who Live There. It was a feature documentary about a city called Lakeland, which is in the middle of Central Florida.
Amazing, and congratulations to both of you for picking up the Audience Choice Award. Austin, I thought, was quite a tough competition, and there was lots of films that had a lot of following throughout the festival month, so I'm really excited to have both of you here where we can now delve in a lot deeper into each of those projects. So we're going to start with Tyler's film, so I'm just going to load that up my side. But Tyler, why don't you talk about the inspiration as I get it playing this side?
Sure, yeah. Lifecell came about because I was in college and I was wondering what it would be like if we didn't have to sleep and we could just plug ourselves in and charge ourselves and continually working on all the things that you have to do while you're in school, like all the classes and then the jobs and everything. But then I just kind of feel like, the state of the country, the way it is, and the world, how they would just exploit it and then use it to means to control us. And then I was very heavily influenced by George Lucas's THX 1138, that Electric Labyrinth that he made when he was at USC, and I was like, he did this and when he was in college, like I could do something like this in college. And so all my professors were like, no, don't do it, it's too much, don't try to take on this much stuff, it's a short, keep it simple, do one of those table dramas, which are great. There's some beautiful films that do that. But from my influence as a kid with like Star Wars and Terminator and Back to the Future, I want to do bigger movies. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to take this on, and I did it. And it was so rewarding and fun. And we got so much help from so many people to pull this off. Otherwise, I could not have done it.
Yeah, I was going to say, one of the things that visually stands out the most for me is the VFX and the quality of the VFX that you have within this short. How many people were working on the special effects?
So we had special effects, like all that stuff, like the arm stuff, was all me. I had to learn how to do it myself. And I still look at it and cringe. I'm like, I could do it better now. But so I actually filmed this when I was in college, like years ago. I'm looking at it on my TV up here. But
yeah.
And so I filmed it. I did it for my project, and then I never did anything with it and let it sit on a hard drive. And then I was like, I'm starting some other projects up, and all these people did put so much hard work into this, and they deserve to have audiences see it. And so I started just this past year. I retooled it a little bit, and then now I'm releasing it. It's going to the festival circuit and hitting a bunch of festivals right now. It just won Best Sci-Fi in this Cannes Independent Film Festival, for whatever that's worth, but I'm really excited about it. So, so now I'm happy people are watching it. I'm so happy it was in your festival.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is really cool, this technician guy. The casting I got super lucky with.
It's one of my notes. They're really strong throughout. So yeah, tell us a little bit more about your casting process.
Yeah, so the casting, I just did a casting call in the Dallas area, and I got the actors who replied to it and showed up to audition, and out of like 20 people who for like all the characters, there was someone perfect for everyone. And him, Vincent Sherman, who's the technician, is such a great, from when he came in, I was like, you're instantly in the movie. You just look futuristic. And he's very much like my callback to THX 1138. He has the shaved head. He had that naturally. And the white. And so I was like, you are definitely in the movie. And all these people were so fantastic. And we had the props 3D printed by a family friend of ours who he and his friend of his had 3D printers, and they were like, we would love to 3D print the props for you. So, and actually the guy who 3D printed the props plays Aldo and Day, who are talking to Jace later on in the film. So he jumped in because the actor was going to play Aldo, backed out. And I was like, you know what? You're actually way better for the part anyway. So it's a bunch of things.
When it comes to independent filmmaking, it's about reaching out to your friends, family, communities to see what it is that you can get your hands on. And to have all of those props made by 3D printers, amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, and all these people, like those, they're all my friends from college, and they are the only people who would show up for extras. So they're in every shot, pretty much, when you see other people in this world.
I was going to ask you, because there are a lot of people in this film. How was it basically being on set and directing everyone?
Oh, it was great. We planned it so that we had each of their scenes together, so it was kind of broken up so not everybody was on set all at once. And we had like a weekend to shoot this, but we had a huge storm pull through our campus and knock out power everywhere. And so we took a whole day out of our schedule that we couldn't shoot because of this storm and this power outage. And so we go in the next morning to the studio where we built this home set that they have, and the power wasn't out. And it was still out, even though it was on for the rest of the building. We were like, we need power, so we're delayed another couple hours.
Yeah.
But we got the power back on, and it worked out. We had to run and gun, but we did it. And I was just so proud of everybody for sticking with me. And
so this was supposed to be a 2-day shoot, and one of those days got knocked off. So you only had one
3-day shoot.
3-day shoot, and you had 2 days to shoot. Got it.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, not amazing that happened, but amazing that you managed to get everything that you wanted into those 2 days and make it look this incredible. So really well done.
Thank you. It was a run and gun operation, and the wardrobes were awesome. I had a previous experience on a short film where we shot a whole day with the main character in one shirt, and it was provided by the actor. And so then he left, and then he came back with a completely different shirt. And I was like, you realize the whole movie takes place in one day, so we had to reshoot.
Oh, no.
So for this one, I learned, and I was like, we're providing all the wardrobe for people, and they will not be able to forget it or bring the wrong wardrobe. And my mom and my sister were the wardrobe department. We set up the sewing machines, and we all those digital almost barcode looking things on their shirts. They actually say the name and the numbers and the occupations of each one of these characters. So that was really fun to do. And they were so cool. Everybody pulled together to make this. It's just so fun to talk about it with people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it looks stunning, and every attention to detail is just what makes it so great for a sci-fi film. We get a lot of sci-fi films where they haven't paid that much attention to detail, and you can instantly see that it's a super, super low budget, and it lets the narrative down because it doesn't all become so cohesive as what you've managed to achieve. With that in mind, what is the goal with this project after you've finished the festival circuit? Are you planning on hoping to get it onto somewhere like Dust, or?
Oh yeah, I'm not super familiar with what short films can do for I don't know where they go for distribution or whatever, but I definitely have a feature in mind, potentially a trilogy of films set in this world.
Okay.
And I would love to push the effects further. It's a lot of the singularity where humans and transhumanism kind of thing merge with technology. So I'd love to push that future, a lot of not super cyberpunk, but along those lines. So I have a feature film written, but right now we're going to go into producing more manageable stuff right now with me and my wife. We have a production company we just are starting, and so we're going to do some features, but eventually these features will lead to these other ones, and eventually we will make Lifecell the feature.
Amazing.
But on a budget that it deserves.
And are you sticking with the sci-fi as your genre, or are you going out into different areas?
I will definitely just kind of do whatever I want. If people want me to make more sci-fi, I would love to make sci-fi because I do love sci-fi a lot. But what I love in my filmmaking, what I try is to have something that's very grounded, like they want to have a baby, but have it in a way that's fantastical and could not be seen other than on screen. You know, it can't happen in the real world. I mean, well, hopefully this can't happen in the real world. We'll see. And so something that's fantastical that could only be in film, told through this story of this medium, but then that is grounded with these like real human emotions and struggles that people go through. But that's kind of what I tell people when they're like, what kind of filmmaker are you? Like, I don't know.
So you asked about what could happen to a short after it's done the festival circuit. And I think if you are using this as like a proof of concept that you can make it into a feature at a later date, if you're not at a stage where you're ready to put all that together into a treatment or to a pack, then I would definitely be looking at some of the different YouTube channels that are out there to get more views on your project. For example, Dust is the biggest sci-fi YouTube channel ever, and I would say that most of the films that get on there get views in at least the 100,000s, if not the millions. So if you manage to get onto that and then you capture an audience, when you're then looking for a producer or funding or investment, whatever it may be, then you can pull those figures and say, well, this is what my last short did. It screened at all of these festivals and then went onto this platform and gained X amount of views. That's only going to help. So don't think once you finish the festival circuit that you can just put it on the shelf, let it do its own thing over there. There is definitely more that you can do.
Cool.
And that's just one channel. There are multiple channels on YouTube. Omeletto's another one, which is fantastic.
I'm gonna write that down too.
And I think Omeletto have branched out to do a sci-fi one as well. So yeah, just have a little Google, have a little YouTube, and see what you can find. But don't just let it disappear.
I know. That's what I made that mistake right out of college, just letting it sit on a hard drive collecting digital dust, and now I'm not gonna let that happen again. I'm getting it out there. I want people to watch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
And so it's funny, this scene where they're gonna go to the next house. There's actually that's not the actor. She couldn't come back for that, so we have a body double in this scene.
So that's a good question then. Apart from having a complete storm that cut the power out for a day of the shoot, what else did you have to overcome in order to get this piece off the ground?
The hallway of the residence, that the power for that building was also out, except for one hallway that had light, and so that's the hallway that we filmed in. and there's people like yelling down the halls and walking out of there because it's a real apartment complex, walking out and like in the middle of a shot looking over at us, and we're dressed in these weird costumes, and they're like, nope, going back inside. Like they didn't know what was going on, especially the officers. They're like, did we wake up in some dystopian future out here? It was awesome.
So Martin, who's watching, has just left a comment in the chat room saying it looks really great, and this looks like a really great sci-fi movie. So thank you, Martin, for jumping in and leaving that comment. And I forgot to mention that if you are watching this stream live and you do have some comments for either of our filmmakers, please put them in there, and I'll share them during the stream.
Cool.
Yeah. So the credits are now rolling, but we've got a little snippet coming up after it. How come you decided to add a little extra onto the end of the film?
Well, just like, the way Marvel does and everything, it gets people to watch the credits and actually appreciate that all these people worked on it, and if there's a little nugget that they can watch afterwards. And I do want to do this scene where, because the whole time it's like, are they sleeping? Or is sleep even possible? If they let their batteries reach zero, will they die? Or will they just fall asleep and self-charge? So I wanted to just tease that, yes, they are sleeping and they will wake up and the story can continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good trick for, like you were saying, like Marvel and other companies and production companies that do that then make people actually sit there and appreciate how many people were involved in a project and what it took to get it off the ground. So yeah, I like it when filmmakers do that.
And they're holding hands, which is, well, they're not in that shot. In the other shot they were.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, did they do that in their sleep or what?
So this film is now on the festival circuit and will have a life after the festival circuit. And you mentioned that you've got a production company with your partner, and you've got lots of other projects coming up. Is there anything specifically that you're working on next?
Yeah, so we just wrapped production on a feature film called Critic that our friend wrote and is directing, and I was producer, my wife was associate producer, and we acted in it as well. So that's in post production, and then we just are we did a proof of concept trailer for a feature film that I wrote and am going to direct, and me and my wife are going to act in it, and we're going to start pre-production on that feature film called Forget Me Not, about a 30-year-old with Alzheimer's and his 8-month pregnant wife heading out on a road trip to find a man who they believe could potentially give him his memory back before their baby comes.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds super interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. And I guess my final question before I hand over to Campbell, if he has any, is why this industry? Was there a particular moment or a film or going to the cinema when you were younger that inspired you to get into filmmaking?
Oh, that's a good question. And it's one that I've thought a lot about more as I've gotten more into an adult. And it definitely stems from my dad and my mom were divorced as a kid, but every other weekend I would go to my dad's house. And the primary thing that we would do every weekend whenever I visited him, he would take me to the new movie that was out. And it was always so magical walking down the long, dark hallway, like getting away from the real world and everything. And then getting into this fantastical screen that you could go to any planet or on Indiana Jones adventures or, you know, you could be anything. And so I would just always, the transformative experience and escapism of it. And then later when I was in film school, I realized the emotional impact and the dialogue that movies can provide people and change that can come from movies. And so I like to combine both. Hopefully. And
you mentioned that you're an actor as well. So is that what you thought you were going to go into this industry doing as a child, or as someone who attends the cinema? You don't often get to see what goes on behind the scenes and what it takes to get a production off the ground. So was acting always the route that you want to do and still do?
Acting was number one. I always was like watching like Jim Carrey or Arnold Schwarzenegger as Terminator up on the screen, or like Mark Hamill, and I was like, I'm going to be that. I don't know what they're doing, but I want to do that. And then it was later whenever I found the love of behind the camera too, and the crafting of the stories and building of the worlds. And that's when I fell in love with just all of it. And I just was like, I want to do it all. Can I Mark Duplass it or whatever?
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you. Campbell, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Tyler?
Well, at first I just wanted to, again, back on the whole attention to detail thing. That was definitely something that stuck out to me too, that I just think it really does build a world when you focus on those details so much, and then they really shine through, and it really brings the audience in. So I love to hear that part
man.
Too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My questions were also going to be kind of the timeline, like the fact that you had 3 days, it got a day cut off, and just the stress of that. And how was that kind of managing the whole team of people? You know, was everyone feeling that tension? Just what was that dynamic like?
I'm sure on set there was a level of stress, like, because there's a level of like, we have this much time, we're fighting the clock, and we have to get it done. But I will say, and I will hope the other cast would say this too, there was also an air of levity, and we had fun. I remember a lot of jokes. I remember a lot of like laughing, and so there was times when we could have fun, but then there was times when we would all just like, okay, we're buckling down and we're gonna get this shot. And then once it's cut and I'm like, oh, we got it, then it's like, all right, let's back to the jokes. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, and everybody, it was a long day, that first day that we actually got to shoot, because we had to make up, and probably I would say like 14 hours. And I hate to go over 12 on my shoots.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta, and they were such awesome troopers, and they worked so hard, and I hope that they agree that their work is shining through on the screen. But
that's cool. That's really cool.
And there's just been a few more comments here from Martin, who is engaged a lot in this interview, which is great. And he says,
thanks, Martin. Bring it on. I love your questions.
Loves the sense of having love the sense of you having people around you working with you on your projects. The dedication to various projects can be so much bigger if you have a group of people sticking together. Exactly what you guys were just saying. So,
yeah, it's the most collaborative art form there is, film, and you cannot do it alone. You could try, and some people can and do it really well, but to really make, I think, something of substance and quality, you have to have a good team behind you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Tyler. Let's move on to Campbell's film. So I'm just going to get this loaded up, and we're switching now from sci-fi to documentary. Tell us, how did this project come around?
Yeah. So me and my business partner, Connor, who cannot make it, unfortunately. So we have a production company in Central Florida, and we have two friends who used to live in Austin, Texas, actually, and they moved down to Lakeland, Florida about 10 years ago, and they fell in love with the city. So they knew us, and they knew that we were creative, and we had a passion for storytelling, and they asked us, hey, do you want to make a documentary about this city? We're like, duh, yeah, absolutely. So honestly, that's how it came about.
Fantastic. I had never heard of Lakeland before. Before this documentary.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more.
Sure. So I am probably Lakeland's biggest fan. But I was born and raised in Lakeland. It's right in the middle of Florida, in between two of the biggest cities, Tampa and Orlando.
Okay.
So ever since up until the last about 10 years, Lakeland was small, wasn't on the map. There was no reason to go there. But it's really started to blow up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traction. A lot of people are moving there. A lot of businesses starting. A lot of people cultivating a culture there that's fun and energetic. So that's kind of why this process started in the beginning, was to really capitalize on this momentum of this small town in the middle of Florida growing, and the people who live there.
Okay, yeah. Great. And it's such great footage that you have in the opening sequences.
Oh, thank you.
As well.
Thank you.
Actually, throughout. And I just want to know, how did you find the different couples, families, and your subjects?
Yeah.
How did you manage to choose those specific groups of people?
Yeah. So like I said, I've lived here my whole life, and it's a relatively small place, 100 to 200,000 people, which maybe isn't small for some people. Maybe that's tiny for some people. Some of these families I actually knew, I had connections with, but some people, now I should say the whole story is geared through telling the story of families who live in historic homes in Lakeland.
Yes.
So there were some homes that we saw, and they were old and they were beautiful, and we were like, gotta knock on their door and just see if they want to be part of this. So some families, we had no idea who they were, and they just were willing to be a part of the story, and kind of everyone in between there, some connections. But it was a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of networking.
So with that in mind, how did you structure this documentary? Was it go and shoot everything and then we'll piece it together and edit? Or did you have a kind of storyboard of what you wanted to achieve and then try and work it out from there?
Yes, so we had a relatively short timeline. They wanted to do everything in about 9 months, start to finish.
Yeah, wow.
So we knew that we needed to make a game plan early on, but with documentary filmmaking, you got to have an open mind because a lot of things don't work out. But we had a game plan of what we wanted to accomplish, got a lot of our interviews done early on, and just kind of started editing, started digging through the footage, and had probably 250 hours of
my gosh.
footage to get through. It was awesome. It was awesome. So a lot of ideas came from just watching footage over and over again, taking notes, loving what this person said, loving what this person said, and piecing it together. Yeah.
And then did you go back and then shoot some more of the B-roll to then accompany and make the story fuller? Okay.
Definitely. Yep, that was a huge kind of, we did all of it a lot together. But yes, it was mainly the interviews first and then a lot of B-roll afterwards.
Great. I think documentary filmmaking is fascinating because everyone does have a slightly different approach to it. And especially you said that you knew some of the people that you are interviewing in here. That must have made them feel so much more at ease. And that's why you've got so great and natural interviews throughout.
Yeah,
What was your approach to making them feel even more comfortable?
for sure. Yeah, so we love just the feel of the raw, intimate feeling that cinema can provide, that storytelling can provide. So we really wanted to make sure that every moment we were capturing was authentic and real. Um, so before we even started shooting, we would just sit down and talk, hang out, have a coffee together or have a lunch together to really just kind of build the relationship first before we just barged in with cameras and started filming. And we knew that was going to take more time and dedication, but we knew it'd be worth it as well. We knew that would be worth it to build a relationship with them. So we would do that first. And then on the shooting days, we had a game plan, but always made sure to leave room to make them feel comfortable if they needed some space, if they needed time to think. And one of our favorite things to do was a house tour.
Oh, yeah.
So we would literally just say, all right, walk around your house.
Welcome to my crib.
About your house.
What was it, cribs?
Welcome to your crib.
Yeah.
Tell us your favorite memories. Tell us your favorite room.
Nice.
Your favorite couch. And we're just going to film. And just pretend I'm not even there. And it is amazing what people will say when you just ask them to talk about their favorite memories in their own space, their own home. It was really cool. Very fun moments.
It's so important to have those tools to make someone just become themselves. It's
right.
It's so interesting watching a human being talk to you naturally, then you pull out either your phone camera or a camera, and then they just change.
Yes.
So having the ability to put someone at ease is fantastic. So well done.
Thank you.
Great. So what is the plan with this project? So it's doing the festival circuit, but what's next? Because it's a feature, so you've got a lot more scope than what Tyler has with a short film.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Yes. So originally we were making it for the people of Lakeland, for them to have something that's a sense of pride for our city, to rally behind. But in showing this film to people who either didn't know of Lakeland or maybe had an idea and just their interest into this story of people who love their city, we have started to develop an idea of maybe doing this again in other cities.
Oh, cool.
So, the people who live there, Austin, the people who live there,
New York,
wherever.
Wherever.
Other cities, wherever. People who love their city, have an interesting story. We were thinking, well, okay, this could be a really fun thing to do with people who love their city and have cool stories. So that would take obviously a lot of work, but we're excited about it.
It's a huge amount of work, but this is a 50-minute piece. So it slots perfectly into episodic content or longer form episodic content.
Yep.
So then you could create, 5 cities and have the plan. And now you've got your pilot episode or proof of concept for whoever you would be going to back it. Would you be going to essentially the council in that area for funding, or who would you look for to get it? Because it's almost a bit like a tourist film as well. So you got lots of scope.
For sure. That's a great question, actually. That part of the people who helped pull this movie together was actually the Lakeland Economic Development Council.
Okay.
And those people they have all the networks, they have all the connections, they have the vision for the city. And this thing was something they were also passionate about. So that would be a direction we're interested in taking, is talking to the council of whatever city we're going to and saying, hey, this could be a huge attraction to your city for people who want to know more about the place or whatever.
So would you be looking at cities that are up and coming, like Lakeland, or would you be looking at cities that are also super established and overpopulated?
Right. Maybe a good mix. We're definitely intrigued by the idea of places that are growing because not everyone knows about them. And I think we're in such an interesting time right now where, after COVID, a lot of people were pent up in their homes. They're looking for new opportunities, for new places. They're looking to learn more about the places all over the world, really.
Exactly.
So it could be a cool opportunity to highlight those places that are growing and that they don't know about.
Yeah, I think this sounds like a really amazing idea, and I can definitely see it being a series that people will absolutely love. And even if it was on cable TV or standard TV or on VOD, whatever, there's definitely a scope for this.
I think there is too.
Yeah,
I think there
cool.
is too.
I wasn't expecting that, which makes it super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep us updated with your progress.
Absolutely.
And I think
Yeah,
you've got such an amazing format with this documentary in the
Thank
style
you.
that you've shot it in as well.
Thank you.
It should attract investors in and the councils to definitely take you seriously.
We're looking for connections. We're looking for people. Looking for cities who would be interested. So.
Great. And documentary filmmaking, is that your niche, or do you also do narrative?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's actually funny. We have just found ourselves in a situation where we kind of done everything.
Yeah.
We started by doing just mini docs for a lot of people. Then we really moved into a commercial world, making ads for businesses and brands in Central Florida, and love that. We've made several short films, love narrative filmmaking, would love to make many feature films, and then kind of stumbled upon this feature-length documentary world, and might be producing another one sometime soon. But we kind of love all of it. We just love storytelling. We love what's actually happening in the world. I'm a huge sci-fi fan too. I want to make sci-fi movies, so I'd love to have my hand in everything. That might be asking too much, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Amazing. Cool.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to get into this industry?
Yes. So,
Yes.
also a funny story. So I grew up in a neighborhood with 13 other kids my age, and all we would do after school in middle school is make YouTube videos.
Okay.
And we fell in love. We fell in love with storytelling at a young age, and that's what it was. I just stuck with it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, our generation and generations to come are so lucky when it comes to media, phones, accessibility to make films and make, I don't know, even TikTok is a creative form, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's like,
absolutely.
We were at the Cannes Film Festival last week, and they ran a TikTok competition there.
Incredible.
I don't know if you saw that, but I think it's just insane, because this is where the next generation of filmmakers are going to come from. So
it's genius.
Yeah, YouTube was kind of our generation.
Right.
I was a little bit old for YouTube, but definitely getting the hang of it now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, lots of different outlets for that.
Tyler, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
Yeah, man, I just wanted to comment on what a great job you did, and
Thank you.
Could easily be, in my opinion, a documentary that's boring, but it's your voice and coming through, and your ease and your subjects that you pick with them, and all that, your style that radiates through this, that makes it so engaging and so intriguing for me. And I think your concept and your execution of it pulls on something that all of us have at some point in our lives. That everyone does this, where they're driving by a house that's that strikes your eye, and you're like, I wonder who lives there. How do they get that house? What do they do? What are their lives like in that house? And I think that's such a whoopsies. Yeah, I think it's a great concept.
Thank you.
I just want to commend you for that.
I mean, one of my favorite things to do in a city is just to either walk around or drive around and see the architecture, see what's in this new place. So, like I said, I think this has huge audience potential.
Definitely a series that you should pursue, and I could see it made.
Thank you. Yeah, I'd love that. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was funny to be kind of in that mindset. I would literally walk around the city with a camera and just kind of wait for things to happen. And it was amazing when you just look at something and kind of slow down for a second, because we're going so fast all the time. When you just look and slow down for a moment, what you might see and what you might capture, the birds, the people who are just walking by and or riding their bike. It's just really cool to slow down and take a moment and look at the things that are going on in your city or wherever you're from. But
love that.
Would love to do that more places.
A lot of people look at their phones.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
One technical question I had is, what did you shoot on? What camera did you use?
Yes, it was a Blackmagic Pocket 4K.
Yeah, I mean, it's the image quality is stunning.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Yeah, very small but very capable.
Yeah, but perfect for documentary filmmaking.
Exactly.
It's unintimidating, and you can move it around super quickly.
Very much so.
Great.
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for
Thank you
for jumping on this
thanks.
call today. I like for both of you. I'm super excited by the projects that you're working on, and please do stay in touch with Liftoff. We
Absolutely.
can help you in
Yeah.
different areas as well. So, yeah, love to see what is next.
Thank you
And
so
thank you
much.
to everyone who joined us live. But these streams tend to do very well after they finish live, and when people in your different areas wake
Great.
up and then see the notification. So,
Thanks, Martin.
yeah, thanks, Martin, for joining. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, we look forward to following your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.